Welcome to another episode of Tectonic Takes. I am your host, Abram, um, and I'm here joined as always with Devon. Devon, how you doing?
Doing great. I mean, great and not so great. Kind of like last time we talked, Abram, on the podcast. Something good happens after a loss, a Quakes loss, um, and that's all I can really say right now before going deep into the depths. How are you doing, Abram?
I'm doing good. I'm obviously not in my uh, room. I'm in a car right now at the park, but we move anyways. Also, my voice is a little sore from I've just been sick this weekend. It's been up and down, but yeah, the Quakes loss. Let's talk about that really quick.
Yeah,
I mean, there was definitely positives, like we've been saying. There's a lot to look at and be like, okay, this team does have something about them, but it doesn't matter when the other team just scores a bajillion goals. It doesn't matter how good you are. You know what I mean?
I totally agree. And yeah, I I'm sure if you're part of the Tectonic Takes Discord server, you saw that I had like a 20-minute rant after the game. I was really upset. A couple of days later, now I've had some time to reflect on the game. It probably wasn't as bad as I had said it was, but there's definitely some players who don't necessarily need to be called out for their individual performance, but need to be recognized for improvement. Um, that said, it was definitely a sad moment in Quakes history to be, to score 3 goals away in LA and not come away with anything at all, and only concede 4 goals. So yeah,
Only
it
four.
wasn't great.
We only
It
conceded
wasn't
four.
great.
Um, yeah, no, I would agree. I think that we never want to lose the 100th Clasico. That's always a bummer. And we're never gonna have another one. We're never gonna have another 100 Clasico. Um, so yeah, there's not that much to say on the game. I think that what is kind of weird, and I think that we should talk on a little bit, is that I don't think Abobasi should start. But wow, he just keeps scoring off the bench. Like he's our top goal scorer, but I'm like, let's keep him on the bench a little bit. But he when he comes off the bench, he has something to prove, and he proves it. So I don't know.
Yeah, I really like Judd starting. I think we expected, Bobasi starting over Judd, but the fact that it was a 100th Cali Clasico and Judd's former team was LA Galaxy, I think it would have been this was the perfect time for Judd to shine from the first minute on, and he kind of did. He made a lot of moments. He was there in the attacking positions that we want him to be in. Unfortunately, he just didn't get any good shots off to be clinical at the end of the day. And kind of like you touched on, Jeremy Abobasi seems to be a better player coming off the bench. I don't know. I can't think of an exact reason right now as to why that is, but he just is. He's a better player coming off the bench, and
Yeah,
I think we should continue that.
I think we should continue it because I don't think he's been in great form. Despite being our top goal scorer, I don't think he looks that good out there when he starts. Um, when he's come off the bench, I think that it's been a really opportune moment. It also kind of provides him some time to look at the game from a different angle, literally from the bench instead of like in it. Um, I also think that the Galaxy game wasn't made for Judd. It just the line that Galaxy was holding, Judd didn't really find the spaces that he wanted, and when he came to get the ball, he's not really the dribbling type striker. He's not really like he can dribble, he can move, but he's 6'3", and it's kind of tough for him. He's pretty good for a big guy, but he's not really special in that aspect. Where I think Abobasi is one of the better ball handling forwards in the league, and that's a hot take. But he's good at holding the ball up and distributing. The problem with that is that he is a striker, and that's something that you would want from your center attacking mid, and not your striker. But this game kind of like, sorry, I'll let you go in a second, but this game
Hmm.
felt like we needed somebody to get the ball behind the defensive line and kind of like exploit the gaps that way instead of like running right at them, which Judd likes to do, and I applaud Judd for doing, and I prefer that from this team. But that game, just felt made more for Ebobisse, and he did end up scoring off of a penalty. So it's not like he tore them apart. It's just I thought that he was a little bit of a better fit in that particular game.
No, certainly. And it's one of those things now where we can start touching on this next subject. And you mentioned it already, in that, Judd works better with a cam underneath him because kind of Jibo works as that cam in a way. He's like the false nine, but he plays like a cam. So it's almost like a I can't even say the word right now.
Non-existent.
Not non-existent nine, and
Yeah.
we need a nine like Judd. And now, as we switch topics here into our new acquisition, possible, potential, unconfirmed by the club or
No, no,
anyone.
no, no. Shut up. Shut up. It's confirmed. We know it's happening. And
Yeah,
everyone's acting coy, like, what are you talking about? No,
it's
he's
happening.
the guy is on
It's
his
happening.
way. He's on his way. I probably sound crazy at this park. Just he's on his way. Um,
You're
yeah,
probably thinking you're speaking Spanish on the car. Get out of that way.
he's on his way. Um, but yeah, Hernan Lopez Munoz. We've allegedly made the signing. I know I said he's on his way, but we're 99% sure he's on his way. And
Yeah.
it's supposedly a $7 million fee, which is the biggest in club history. Is double the biggest in club history, and it's huge, for us. And I think that first, what do you think of him as a player, Devin, from what you've seen in highlights and stats and stuff?
Well, first of all, I'd like to commend our FO for doubling our our record. Last season we broke the record, the transfer record, with Carlos Grezzo for 3 million, and now we just broke it with 7 million, which is absolutely insane. I know the Oakland Roots game is coming up, and they want to make protests about Fisher out. I don't know how inclined I am at this point to be saying that, even though we're 10 years late, but
Thanks
it's
for your
happened.
money. Thanks for 7 million.
Yeah.
Now, off. Bleep it. Just bleep it. Bleep it.
No, yeah, we'll edit that. But I like Hernan Lopez. He's a really good dribbler, and Hameen in the Tectonic Takes Discord had posted one of those little those like back side to side images with him and comparing to
Montero.
Montero. He's got really good dribbling skills, decent passing, and the weird thing about him being a cam is he has really good defensive recovery technique. Like he goes back, hustles, and recollects the ball, which is something that you don't really see often from cams. So I'm really happy to see this happening. I'm really happy that that we were really sad in January. We were upset that we didn't get Hernan Lopez. We were like, this guy was amazing. He's got great stats. Didn't end up happening. And then all of a sudden, in the very last day of the transfer window, we get Hernan Lopez Munoz, and like our prayers are basically answered. I'm not religious, but I'm sure many of you are. So I will say our prayers are answered. We got our 10 that we need.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that he really fits Lucci's system in particular. Because Lucci likes a cam who can try and win the ball back. He liked that about Montero. The thing is, Montero wasn't very bought in to the system, in my opinion. Maybe that's slander. I don't know, but that was kind of like the vibe I got. He wasn't super interested in doing what Lucci wanted. He wanted to do his own thing. And Losada, I don't because I when I think Hernan L, I think Hernan Losada, the ex DC United coach. I think he went to Montreal. Anyways, Hernan Lopez. Um, he's very like prototypical South American center attacking mid, where he's gonna fight for the ball. He's great on his left foot. He can dribble past players, but he likes to take shots, is what I saw from his highlights. Shots that, normally you wouldn't advise. He just kind of just lets it rip, which, sometimes we need. Sometimes we honestly really need someone to just shoot because we just want to, try and break into the box in all these types of ways, but it doesn't really work out. I think Trophies is the last time we had someone who was just like, screw this, I'm scoring. And then he would just, find the back of the net somehow.
He could
So
be the
yeah,
Argentine slender trophies, if we're honest.
yeah. he kind of fits the same profile. They're the same size, left foot, but he's a lot more athletic. He's in the 99th percentile of take-ons. I don't know if that's in the world, but that's the stat I saw of center attacking mids in his position. And that's huge. You know, you don't get those every day. There's only a few of those numerically. So, yeah, I'm very excited about this acquisition. And, you know, it's just a really big statement from Chris Leach, from the FO to be like, hey, we're not done yet. Like, I know that it's going poorly, but there's no way that, like, they were sitting there at their office watching what was happening and be like, this is fine. You know,
Yeah.
they had to do
It's nice to
something.
know that it's nice to know that the FO decided to like push forward with with a player that we needed, that we've been asking for. You know, this is another aspect of things. Like, this is what literally fans have been asking for. We want the 10, we want the cam, an attacking cam, and we actually got it. You know, the FO has been listening to the fans, has been listening to the media, and now they're enacting on it, and that's something that I really love about Chris Leach.
Yeah, Chris Leach, I think we should build him a statue because he's like, so you're the GM for the Center of the Earthquakes, the worst team in the league, and what do? You know, you put pressure on the owner. You build out your team in the front office to kind of push the club forward. And honestly, we have brought in a lot of players that we wouldn't have seen before. Like Bruno Wilson, bringing him in would have been it, and we would have been like, heck yeah, a center back from Europe. Now, let's see if Wando can save us. That was our whole strategy back in the day. You know, I'm obviously exaggerating, but Chris Leach, he brought in Wilson, he brought in Costa, he brought in everyone. Like most of the roster is a Chris Leach, you know, acquisition. So he's not really lying down. He's not giving up. He got the Cade money. We weren't using Cade well. I think that we can all agree on that. He wasn't growing here. So we sold him for a really good amount, and we're using that money now to keep progressing the club. And Cade's doing super well in Mexico. So, like, from Leach, there's nothing more I really ask for because I know how difficult his job is. I know that uh, Fisher doesn't want to give him any money, right? He doesn't want to, but Fisher is squeezing every last drop he can, and you know, for that, I think he deserves a statue.
Well, additionally, on top of our expectations that this is supposed to be reality, the San Jose Earthquakes were supposed to have a press conference today involving Luchi Gonzalez as the main man. Now that's been postponed. It's been postponed until tomorrow, Thursday, April 25th. So the day after this episode is supposed to be uploaded. It is now set for 10:30 in the morning, and Chris Leach, our general manager, will be the man taking the questions from media. So, if does that take any effect into whether or not we got Hernan Lopez Munoz? I
So
think it does,
yeah,
personally.
every Wednesday we have a media day and we talk to the coach about the upcoming match, right? We have canceled that event. I don't care. You say postponed. They canceled that. Like, hey, let's talk to Leach, the guy who brings in players. Why do you think that is? Why do you think we brought the
Mm-hmm.
player bringing in guy instead of the coach
Yep.
who's going to talk about the game on Saturday? Because we're going to talk about the player we brought in. Like, otherwise, what the heck are we doing? Like, that's crazy.
So that means everyone in our Discord server will probably be elated because we're gonna finally see a drum after
Yeah,
several months of waiting for something to happen.
I want to see Leach personally with the drumsticks smacking the drum.
Wouldn't that
Wow.
be a press
While
conference?
Hernandez like putting a sticker, I want Leach to be.
Leach is gonna bang the drum so hard it breaks, and you're gonna see Hernan
Yeah.
Lopez inside.
You're like, what the heck?
¿Qué pasó?
¿Qué pasó? Yeah. So yeah, I'm really excited for this acquisition. Devin, what do you think that this? Because it's not going to save us, right? We've already been too far gone. Um, where do you think that we should be expecting to place now?
I think we should be placing around the same area that we finished last time. So around eighth, ninth, we're competing for an outside looking in playoff spot. I think if we
Uh-huh.
collect enough points on the road, we collect enough satisfying results at home for the rest of the season. I think we can definitely we can salvage any sort of playoff hope in the next couple of months. And we're not too far away. We're only like 3 or 4 games away from playoff contention, so it's not like we're out. But the hope is dwindling every game that we lose. So hopefully Hernan Lopez gets his visa soon and he can take the field. However, there's a new question with the intake of Hernan Lopez. What do we do with Nico Tsikiris, and how? This was asked on the Tectonic Takes Discord server as well. How do you think this addition will elevate other players? So the number one question I think would be, what does this mean for Nico Tsikiris? Would he become a starter in a different position, or will he become a substitute as a 10 for Hernan Lopez in for the first couple of games?
First of all, I apologize about all the cars in the background. This Tokyo Drift is going on in the parking lot, apparently. But my prediction is that he will elevate his game to try and match what's his name? Hernan. I don't think that. I mean, obviously he's going to get less playing time because right now he's our starting cam. But I think that 18-year-olds don't usually start. I think that we should still get him in his U22 contract to keep him at the club. But I think that instead of going 70-30 with Jack Scan, I think we go 70-30 with Hernan getting the 70 and Nico getting the 30. Scan plays somewhere else. I don't think. I think that it's likely that we could also see Nico subbing in for Yule. I don't think he should start for Yule, and I know that's a hot take, and a lot of people don't like Yule right now. But Yule is a really big presence in this team, and there's so many things that he does that really go underappreciated. He's a very frustrating player for sure. I don't like when has a player running down the wing and he decides to pass backwards to the goalkeeper. No one likes that. But I think that he does have a very strong effect on the team that people choose not to see. I think at this point because he's been here for a long, long time, and we just kind of forgot the things that Yule does. When he's on the team, then we do start to see the people be like, "Oh shoot, we need Yule, we miss Yule." He's a big player for us, but I think that Nico has capabilities to play in that position, on rotation with Yule. But I don't see him taking that spot really.
Yeah, I agree. And well, for the most part, I have some doubts about Jackson Yule's potential or ability. I don't agree that he should be in the starting 11. I know that he's captain material. The team thinks he's captain material, but I think there are better players, and I know Nico Tsikarius has been training his entire life as either a cam or a CM, and you know it's these seasons as a youngster where you need to figure out what your more solidified spot is within a team.
Hmm.
And I think right now he's solidifying himself as a cam, but with this intake of Hernan Lopez, I think he could be a better CM, to be honest. He's up
DM.
and down the field, CM,
Okay,
center mid.
so let's call those eight for people who don't play FIFA. Uh,
Yeah.
it's 10 and
Well,
8. Yeah.
yeah, and eight, but more specifically center mid, just so people aren't as confused. Um, I think Nico could be that guy, especially in like 1 or 2 years time. I think he can definitely be a solidifying starting spot next to Hernan, and I think those two would work really well. They work. They make great off the ball movements, off the ball runs. They have a great natural understanding of the game, and personally, I think those two would make a great combination in the midfield, along with Alfredo Morales.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I agree. It's just the way that you presented it. Yeah, Morales is really good. I have worries about him because it feels like uh, kind of like when your car tells you need an oil change and you keep driving it because I fear that we're overusing Morales for his age and his load could be that where he's going to get an injury where we don't see him anymore and then maybe Edwin Mendoza comes in as backup and then Grezzo gets 90 minutes every game. And Grezzo is we brought him in for that, but it's not a great position to be in to not have anyone else in that spot. I think that Morales, if we keep using him too much, he's 33 years old, going on 34. It worries me a little bit. Um, to give a rebuttal on the Nico thing, I agree. I think that Nico for sure. I don't think I have any doubt about this. That Nico has a higher ceiling than Jackson Newell, right? Like we can all agree on that. He's an incredible player who has a great passion and drive to play as an eight and press off the ball and do all those good things. But Yule right now I think has the edge at the eight spot because of the little things that he does, like I said. But also he has more experience. I think that he's not that much better at defending, but he wins the ball more often than Nico does. And maybe that's because we've seen Nico primarily as a 10 thus far. So, that could be skewing the data a little bit, but that's just kind of how I see it. But I think that it's really good to have this kind of argument because it means that we have quite a few good midfield options at this point.
Yeah, definitely. And it's also like one of those things that I didn't get a chance to mention in the Colorado episode because I wasn't with you guys. Or maybe I was and I don't have good memory. Anyways, you could see Nico during the Colorado game was tracking back quite a bit. And he was making a lot of defensive plays, recognizing that Rid Rodriguez was up the field and realizing that there needs to be that extra spot filled in the back line. And he did just that. So I think, as a CM, he is one of the perfect fits for it. And he has he has the awareness, he has the capability of, off the ball skills, on the ball skills, whatever you can think of. He has it as an 18-year-old. It's great. I'm
Yeah.
surprised that Europe isn't calling his name right now because of his skill and ability. And if they are calling his name, that might not be good for us because then we need to reanalyze our depth.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have Nico. It's nice to have Nico go anywhere in the midfield,
Yeah.
except for a six spot.
But yeah, I wouldn't have him as a six. If you were going to argue that he should be
No,
a six, I'm like, why? Why?
no, 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 no. That's
Um,
why I corrected myself last second.
yeah. No, and yeah, I do think Nico has a lot of ability, and he, like you said, he does track back, which is awesome. I don't think that he has the defensive skill. I think that he has a defensive mindset, like to do that dirty work, but he doesn't have like the tackling ability per se of someone like Rizzo. But but yeah, what the fuck else should we talk about?
Well, I wanted to point out one more thing in that for the Galaxy game, I had noticed that and this is where I'm confused because I'm not sure if this is a Lucci tactic or is this an individual mistake in that Grezzo seemed to push really high up the field to a point where he became the striker in a pressing situation. And LA Galaxy seemed to like really take notice of that because the moment Grezzo pressed was the moment Galaxy took 2 to 3 passes into the midfield and then started a counter. Like they were breaking straight at the back line the moment they saw Grezzo out of position. And that's something that kind of worries me and confuses me because I'm not sure if that's an individual standpoint, an individual, kind of I
Instance.
can't I can't can't think of the term, but an individual fault or
Okay, I see.
or a tactical fault. And I kind of wanted your opinion on that to see if you saw anything.
Yeah, I did see that. I saw it happen one time. It might have happened twice. I don't think it happened too many times where I'm like, Guido just loves playing forward. It happened and it was really bad and it got caught out. Uh, but then I don't think that it happened too many times before that. I was also like, what's he doing there? Like, what does he, plan to do in that spot? But it wasn't like we can't really pin that on Grezzo for the rest of his career. Like he loves to just press like a forward, where I think that like he kind of like got caught up in something. I don't know. Because yeah, I agree that was kind of egregious. I don't remember if it led to a goal or anything. I do want to say that like when Puig scored, I'm sorry to move the topic, but I gave my thought.
Keep going, keep going.
Um, when Puig scored that goal, I felt like Grezzo should have been able to stop it. It wasn't like a rocket or anything. And in that
Oh,
spot, when you're defending,
um,
what?
revelation here. Tom Bogert just tweeted: the San Jose Earthquakes have officially signed number 10 Hernan Lopez.
Nice.
So it is now official.
I mean,
Hernan Lopez is publicly now a San Jose Earthquake.
yeah, live breaks. Um, yeah, that's huge, and we obviously kind of knew, but it's great, and now everyone's gonna be able to celebrate because everyone was waiting for Tom Bogert. Um, so that's great. Um, but what I was saying about Grezzo is he's supposed to be a defensive superstar, right? And that goal that Puig scored, where he kind of like turned the width of the ball and cut in, and then kind of kicked it between Grezzo's legs. As a defender, there you have to know that your job is to stop the shot, and that's kind of like that's your job. Like you're the goalkeeper basically with your legs there. And he just kind of like he looked like he was surprised by the shot when I feel like it's insane to be surprised by the shot in that position where you're covering the goal, like you have no other thing to do. So
Right.
it wasn't good enough for me. It wasn't $3 million quality. It wasn't DP quality. It was really disappointing to me.
Definitely. And that seems to be sort of a theme in this his second season as a San Jose Earthquake. There's a lot of questions asked going Grezzo's way, and it's somewhat concerning for the San Jose Earthquakes. Um, but I don't know. I think a lot of people's minds now that it's official is on Hernan Lopez.
So I was like trying to think of the pros and cons. Are there any cons that you see from this you know from this acquisition?
I mean, the only con is maybe a loss of time, playing time for our youth, specifically Nico
Hmm.
Securis in development. But there's not really that because now, Hernan Lopez is so young that he kind of qualifies as sort of like a youth player in a way. He's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
like
yeah.
that young, he's only like 22, 23.
Yeah.
But still, it's kind of crazy that we signed someone that Argentinian fans themselves consider as one of the best cams in the league, and we got him.
I don't.
The San Jose Earthquakes have done something that we haven't done in our entire existence, and got someone that's incredibly
Yeah.
talented, like Hernan Lopez Munoz.
For comparison, or like to put it into perspective for people who don't really know this guy, which I can't fault you if you don't know who this guy is. He has 84 potential on FIFA, and that's not given to just anyone. He's Diego Maradona's great nephew. He has really good genes, and he's left-footed as well, about the same height. He's very very good. Like I
Big up
said,
left footed.
yeah, look at left-footed. Devin's also left-footed. Um, he like I said, 99th percentile of take-ons, huge, and
Yep.
he takes shots. He has a very powerful shot. I do think that sometimes we're gonna get tired of that. I think that's one thing that I looked at and I'm predicting like, oh god, people are gonna get so mad that he's just gonna shoot and bomb Lobina. But we love that. Like we got frustrated when Espinosa would do that, but I think people are like, it's kind of like a good thing now. So I don't know. I think people will
Yep.
come around to it.
I think they will. And there's a lot of fear in our Discord server that like, oh, we haven't heard of anything negative yet in the press. We haven't heard of anything in the media that officially confirms. We need to see the drum. We're scared to not see the drum. We need to see it ASAP. Like we're gonna get the drum, guys. Don't you worry. We're gonna get the drum. Whether it be tomorrow or Friday, preferably tomorrow. Especially like before the press conference is announced, or it happens. We will
Yeah,
get the drum.
no, for sure. Like I don't need the drum at this point. Like he's gonna be here. It's
he,
gonna
he he
be
is a San Jose Earthquake.
one of the cons is that it's gonna be a minute till he steps on the field. Um, and that kind of sucks because
Right.
also something I'm worried about is that does he know does he know that he's coming into a team that hasn't we won one
Won a
game
game.
in our last
Yeah.
nine? Does he know that he's gonna be that guy who has to drag us to mediocrity at least? Because that's a really hard thing to do, and if we don't do well, is he gonna want to move on? 'Cause that's a huge loss. 7 million is huge for us, and that's gonna in Fisher's eyes be like, oh, I gave you guys 7 million, and then you did nothing with it. So
Right.
that's a little bit scary, to be fair. Um, but that's looking into the future with, and I have no indication that things are going to go that way. I think that Hernan Lopez is a very strong player, and I think that this is kind of Leach is ushering in an era of just fight and I guess what's it called when you're not bad at something, competency. An era of competency, which is something that we've needed. Like we don't ask for to win the MLS Cup every year. We ask to be in the playoffs, and most teams get in the playoffs. So it's not crazy for us to ask that. So I'm super happy with the direction that Leach is taking us. I hope that Lucci, with this player, can change things because this is the kind of guy that he would want. And I'm sure that he had a lot of input in this acquisition as well. So yeah, really, really good times to be a Quakes fan, even though it's a very bad time to be a Quakes fan.
Well, you also bring up another question that I have before we get off air here. Um, what does that mean for Lucci? A lot of people are calling for Lucci out. A lot of fans don't like him right now. They think he should go because we've lost, eight, only won one of our last nine. Um, but now that he's gotten his cam, he's got the man that he's requested for the longest time. How much time do you think Lucci should have to redeem himself from this horrific start to a season?
Well, so there's things to look at here that are beyond any of us. Well, Devin, you and I talked about this last night, and it was Jamin Moore who brought it to my attention on the Quick Step Center. Go check them out if you guys haven't. Very insightful folks over there. Um, they said that it would cost about 1 million to pay out Lucci's contract to fire him. Firing Lucci would cost $1 million. That's a lot of money when you just signed a player for $7 million. So to just throw $8 million at the wall, does that sound like Fisher to you? No,
No.
no. So Lucci is not going anywhere. We're gonna see him at least until the end of the season, unless literally he loses the rest, like the next 20 games. Like then you're like, okay, there's something actually wrong with this guy, And I don't think that the stats show that. I think that we're a competent team that has been getting scored on like crazy. Um, I think that Lucci is going to stay at least until the end of the season. Things are going to turn around, meaning we're not going to lose the next 8 games in a row. Um, and we're going to see the new system in place with Hernan Lopez there. But I don't think that he's going to be moving on. And I just don't see anything really changing, to be honest.
Yep. I definitely agree. After the LA Galaxy game, I was like, "Oh, Lucci out. This is horrible." And as it's frustrating to see our team lose. But now that he's gotten the player he wants, I am totally willing to give this guy more time. It seems like we're all happy as a collective group in this organization now that we don't really have any specific positions that we want upgrades in right now.
Yeah,
So let's just kind of see for the rest of this, spring/early summer and see if we can collect a ton more points. I know the next, what is it, 4 games or away or something like that. We're playing the next
we have
4 out of
Levi's.
5 away. Yeah, we're playing the next 4 out of 5 away. So if we can collect any points there, that will shut up a lot of Lucci out fans personally. And it kind of, I want to say it solidifies more of a Lucci in stance if he can collect more road points here
Yeah,
as we integrate Hernan Lopez Munoz into our system.
yeah. Real quick, who are we facing up next?
We are facing Nashville SC. So we're going up against Henny. Uh, we're going up against, Walker
Yeah,
Zimmerman, all those big guys, big names, big players. They made it to the finals. They made it to the
yeah,
finals of Leagues Cup, I think.
yeah.
So, they're a tough team.
Yeah, so we definitely can't go into this game with any confidence of we're gonna walk all over these guys. I don't think we're ever going to. That would be insane. Um, but I do want to say that Hani Mukhtar hasn't been firing this season. Walker Zimmerman is out. Uh, Dax McCarty is retired. Godoy should probably still be there. Um, what's it called? Fafa Pico gone. There's a lot of things that you could look at and be like, okay, this is a time that we could get a draw. Because we're not good away. Um, because Nashville are very weak right now. But also, Hani is a guy who could just turn it on at any moment and punish you. But with if our attack is firing, then maybe we can score some goals while we lose. That'd be great. Um, but no,
Definitely.
I'm predicting that we kind of take this game very seriously, and I think that it's going to be a good match. I don't think we're going to get run over because of the reasons I just mentioned. Nashville are weakened right now, and I don't think that in terms of our overall roster, we're very weak. I think that we're missing Wilson, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I think we're missing that extra CB link, and the fact that we're conceding a lot of goals in comparison to last season. Lucci came in to help the defense in the first season, and it seemed to work quite a bit. We conceded a lot less goals than in the Almeida era. And then all of a sudden this season, we're dropping goals again. And that's kind of what fears me about the Henny Mukhtar situation for next week. Henny scares me because of the fact that we keep letting in a ton of goals and a ton of goals.
Yeah.
And if we can't score more than the opposition, we're going to have a hard time collecting 3 points, whether it be at home or on the road. So, that's kind of my take on the whole situation right now. As we integrate new players, let them, stay solidified into the system. We're gonna have a hard time collecting any points unless our offense or attack decides to, really push the boundaries of our skill and ability.
If we start Chud, then Jabo's at least going to score one. He has to. Um,
It's like a guarantee.
yeah, at this point. But no, they have been really weak off of set pieces. And we have been scoring some goals off of set pieces. We just find a way. That's another thing to keep in mind. And they're struggling to score, and we are struggling to make other teams not score. So if we can take advantage of their weakness in attack, 0-0 is a good outcome for us. So I'm going to be tuning in with optimism, and I'm excited to see this one out. Uh,
Like every single week, we start fresh on a Wednesday afternoon.
yeah,
We forget about last weekend. We're like, we're ready for next.
yeah,
Ready for next. I'd like to point out before we head out here. Apparently, the deal was worth around 6 million and not
okay.
7 million. So we dropped 1 million in negotiations. Godoy Cruz and both Godoy and River, kind of distributed it evenly, $3 million each. So that was a really cool thing. We thought it was going to be 3.5
Yeah.
million to each team, but it is now 6. And it is officially a DP deal. I'm kind of hoping that he's going to take the number 8. I know it's a tectonic take, but I think he's going to take the number 8 for
Yeah.
the San Jose Earthquakes and become the first player since Wondolowski's retirement to take that number.
My take is that I'm not very happy about anyone taking it. It was my prerogative that I would like it to be retired, but if Wando isn't comfortable with that, then I'm fine with it. And I think this is a really good time to honor that number with the the most expensive player in club history, double the last transfer record. This is a big thing for us. Even if he doesn't end up playing well, just the number on the price tag is enough, I think, to kind of honor Wando's legacy.
Totally agreed. Our apparent Quakes chat has turned into horny Hernan hours. I don't know if I can say that on the podcast, but
I think it's fine.
it is now horny Hernan hours.
Yeah. With that being said,
It's part of club culture.
come check us out. Come hang out during Horny Hernan hours, and the link for the Discord will be in the description. It's such an amazing place in that Discord. We get crazy in there, and sometimes we have to go shut it down. But ultimately, it's one of the best places to be as a Quakes fan. So thank you guys for everyone who's already in there for making that place what it is. Um, and if you're not in there, you're missing out. Um, but yeah, with that, I think we've said everything we need to say. I'm looking forward to this game against Nashville, and I'm glad I get to watch it with all of you guys. Go Quakes!
Yep. Go Quakes.